So Ace, now you're making all this money. What happens?
So for some who were around back then, especially in business, you'll remember 2001 is what they kind of termed the internet bubble is bursting. And we hit a bit of a recession, but the people that were the hardest hit were in the internet industries. And so everything that all the people that we really made money from when it came to ads and our platform, a lot of them were being shut down or going out of business. And so the money just was drying up more and more and more over time. And I realized like, hey, we're headed towards having to shut the doors. Now, and it was one of those things that was so quick. Just 7 months before, we had Ameritrade who was interested in buying the platform, and we're like, man, why would we sell right now? Things are growing, everything is going well, which is one of the reasons that today everything I have, if I get a great offer, it is definitely for sale. But we, just ended up closing the doors. So now I am a 21, 22-year-old kid. I, have a little bit of cash. I made a great return overall on the acquisition, but it's nothing. I don't have a degree. I've got to figure out, okay, what is my next thing?
Yeah, so you're in this position. At this point in life, at 21, 22 years old, are you regretting your decision, or like what's going through your mind, at this point in time?
Yeah, I think anytime you're going through those things, it's a mix of emotions. It's the regret over not having a degree, so I can go out and just get a really great job. It's like, man, I don't have the opportunity to get a job, the kind of job that I could have if I finished school. Regret over not taking the offer, like, we could have had a 7-figure exit. Why didn't I take the offer from that trade? But the really great thing during those times is looking back and going through the decisions that you've made and kind of learning from those. And one of the things that it just never really crossed my mind was that I could duplicate what I had done and just go and find a deal. And so it took a while, just when something fails, it's good to take that time and just sulk and be sad and let all that out. When you're building a company, it can be like a kid. It can be, you have a relationship with it. So letting those employees go and, just losing that vision for where I felt like we could take it. So I had a little bit of time there, and then I decided, hey, I wonder, it was just happenstance that I bought this thing, but I wonder if I could go and take the little bit of money I do have and buy cash flow or buy income again instead of going out and getting a job. And the really interesting thing is I did some consulting for SunTrust. And the main reason I did get that was because of my experience, which was really unique when it came to our financial platform. So that gave me some money as well. And so it's interesting. That was an opportunity that came because of what I learned and the value that I brought through that entrepreneurial journey. And then, so I was able to gather up some cash. I learned a little bit from them about mortgage companies and how that worked, while I was also kind of sharing my knowledge. And so I ended up embarking on the journey to find my next deal, which ended up being a mortgage company.
Got you. So your next deal is a mortgage company. Before we get into that, though, let me ask you in terms of, you keep talking about learning and skills and learning from the previous, your first company. Talk about some of the main things that you learned in terms of skill sets that helped you along as you purchased this mortgage company. Or in the mortgage industry for your next act?
Yeah, the very first thing was this concept that I could use some seller financing, and I could negotiate a deal where I could leverage a small amount of money. And at this point, I had a little bit of money, but I could put a small amount at risk in that deal and come up with a deal structure that protects me and my cash while I try to grow that business. And that's exactly what I did with that mortgage company. Was I was able to leverage a small amount of money to still get control of the business. And so that was really the first thing was, wow, the ROI on that $3,000 ended up being absolutely astronomical because I, was able to leverage this big asset with a small amount of money. The second thing was understanding hiring and understanding internet marketing. So in a mortgage company, like your employees are huge, and learning at a young age, how to find people that are going to be great employees, how to, deal with firing folks, just a lot of the headaches around HR. I had to deal with that at a young age. And I was able to, they had a lot of issues with some of the brokers and keeping them motivated and that kind of thing. And so I brought a unique energy there when I took over the business. And the thing that wasn't being done in a big way in that industry, and it's still what I try to look for today, is how can I bring the same concepts and ideas from one industry? Because I've owned everything from tanning salons to mortgage companies to, we're closing a deal right now that's a SaaS business. And, we have a lot of different businesses. And in a lot of those cases, we're taking things that there's some really creative entrepreneurs. Instead of me trying to come up with what are the best ideas, I want to just cross-pollinate those. But the big idea for that acquisition was, let's bring some internet marketing to this mortgage company, which it was doing zero before I acquired it.
So that's interesting. So basically, you're not creating something new, like outright. You're combining just ideas that you have heard or that you have seen from just different industries and applying it to another industry to add value to the the base underlying business. Is that correct?
That's it. What I realized was I can have a tremendous amount of upside if I spend a lot more energy in the deal. And because after we closed Cool Wall Street, sold some of the assets for a little bit, what I thought about was, okay, well, I'm going to go start another business. And it was, as I looked at it and compared that to being able to buy one, I'm like, wait a minute. So I've got to, come up with an idea. I've got to hope that it matches with the marketplace and the demands. I've got to start spending money before I make any money. And I've got probably 9 months to a year and a half before I can even break even in the normal business. And so I compared that to my journey of, okay, get a little bit of capital, and it's the day I close on this business, I'm cash flow positive, and then I can take that cash and reinvest into growing it. It's basically skipping those first 2 years of owning a business and trying to find the customers, build the team, create some systems, have all of that stuff in place. And I can do it and start making money as soon as I close the deal. So that was kind of, and then taking some of those ideas and sprinkling those into the company that I bought.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So how did things turn out with the mortgage company that you purchased?
Great. It ended up, little did I know at this point that I left one bubble and joined into another kind of growing bubble. So things are killing it. This is 2002, 2003. 2004, I bought another company that was called Homevestors. And in that company, we were buying and selling about 50 houses a year at that point. It basically is a franchise that's in the real estate side. So it was very complementary. We're doing the deals over here, and then we were, doing the mortgages, and then merged with just a portion of a real estate brokerage. And so 2006 hits, and a guy comes out of the blue and wants to buy my business. Now, it's not really for sale, but I've had that experience of Cool Wall Street where I wanted, I'm like, okay, like I'm at least willing to talk about this. And I ended up exiting those, without any idea of what was coming around the corner. So I certainly kind of lucked out there because I was not an oracle that had any idea of what was going to happen in 2007, 2008. But because of what I learned in 99 and 2000, in 2001, I was, just open and willing to start those negotiations to exit out of that.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think that shows that you can't time the market, right? So, on the first time you lost in terms of, your company because the, tech bubble of 2000, 2001. But then the second time, it just so happened that the timing worked out, great. And then you sold at, approaching the height of the real estate bubble that was happening then. And I think, a key learning lesson for me, just thinking about that, is nothing really changed in terms of your model, in terms of running the business. It got better, but fundamentally, you're still putting in work day in and day out to deliver value and to, I guess, combine the best ideas from different industries to create a new product, a new type of product that delivered immense value to your customer base.
Exactly.